Hello, I wanted to talk about the science in emotion. Now, interestingly, I checked my email this afternoon just before I was going to start this video, and I found an email, and the title of it was, "What Camp Are You In?" And it was from a scientist who's an ethologist, and she also studies affective neuroscience, which is the study of animal feelings, and I like to call affective neuroscience simply the science in emotion. And she, in her email, she says that you might not be aware of it, but there is a division in the world of animal trainers, and there's two problems. Some people are wasting a lot of time being annoyed, feeling resentment towards, or even verbally attacking the other camp, although perhaps the death toll is low. And of course, she says, think of all the great things we could be doing instead, which is, of course, very true. But her other statement is that animals' welfare is reduced because some animal trainers in a different camp are using suboptimal techniques. And by those techniques, she's actually meaning punishment and things like aversive equipment, prong collars, shock collars, choke chains, things like that, intimidating techniques, physical abuse. And she states, in my opinion, some animals are suffering or having to be euthanized either as a result of unfortunate training choices or because better solutions were not investigated. Now, I thought this was a very interesting email to get at this time, because I'd have to answer that with respect to camps, I'm not in either, simply because if you associate yourself with one or the other, then you're effectively excluding yourself against other people, and you're creating enemies. And of course, the hyperbole she used in the sentiments between the two groups, of course, was quite spectacular. But nevertheless, that they are pitting other people against each other, and they're excluding each other from any ability to come together under a universal understanding or a universal way forward. And so I want to talk about that universal way forward that is really very simple. And when we think about science provides us with methods and skills and techniques, but it doesn't help us to gain the wisdom and a higher intelligence, or the intelligence to be able to use those techniques appropriately. And of course, if science could provide us with the wisdom and intelligence that we needed, there wouldn't be trainers and veterinarians punishing animals with aversive equipment when they're training them. So I wanted to talk about the science in emotion, how it relates to humans, and why humans, dog trainers, veterinarians, humans like yourself that have a dog in their life, we are the ones that need to raise our consciousness and shift our mindset, which will shift our intention. And I'm talking about raising our own consciousness by simply having the mindset of a guardian for our dogs. And by having the mindset of a guardian, I've talked about this concept before, but it specifically relates to the science in emotion, because when we're reconnecting with our dogs, which is essentially what having the mindset of a guardian is doing, reconnecting with our dogs, we have that sense of joy and compassion and warmth and empathy, and that's incompatible with wanting to punish or harm our dogs or the animal that we're training. So looking beyond science and raising our own consciousness, but still being inclusive of science is really important. And having the mindset of a guardian does this so beautifully and so inclusively. And I wanted to talk to you about some different studies. Firstly, there was one study that showed, and this is the associations between owner personality and psychological status and the prevalence of canine behaviour problems. And this was back in 2018. This was published, so very recently. But it found that with respect to men that had moderate depression, and of course the emotional symptoms of depression can be sadness or irritability, negativity, and anxiety. Now, when they were looking at men with moderate depression, there was a more than 5-fold increase in the use of aversive and confrontational training techniques. But looking at it on the other side of the emotional spectrum, if you like, another study that talked about training methods and owner-dog interactions, links with dog behaviour and learning ability, it was found that when dogs were provided with a new thing or a new task to do, their ability to perform this task was much higher when their human had a playful and patient attitude. And once again, when we look at being patient, being playful, that's incompatible with wanting to harm or punish your dog. And of course, once again, being patient, being playful blends in with the mindset of a guardian very nicely, because you are sitting in the emotion of having empathy and compassion for your dog. One really lovely study that elegantly highlights the science in emotion was a study that was published back in 2013. And I've talked about this study before in one of the True How to Train a podcasts. And it's called Dogs' Endocrine and Behavioural Responses at Reunion Are Affected by How the Human Initiates Contact. And what we have here is a lovely demonstration of the interaction of humans and dogs, and where the human initiated contact, either through talking to the dog or petting the dog or just interacting or looking at the dog, the concentration of oxytocin in the dog and in the humans increased. And oxytocin is a feel-good hormone that is responsible for pair bonding and also bonding between mother and child. And so when we talk about strengthening the human-animal bond, having the mindset of a guardian reflects this study so beautifully, because when we are in the mindset of a guardian, we're reconnecting with our dog. We are actually strengthening our own bond with our dogs, and we're seeing those chemical changes happening, and we're feeling those chemical changes happening in us, but not just us, also our dogs. So science helps us in so many ways, but it's very clear that science can't solve the problems that we have, and those problems are really human-made, and those problems can be simply fixed by simply raising our own consciousness and looking beyond science towards the mindset of a guardian. And if dog trainers are really serious about solving this problem, then we will all come together under this universal umbrella of guardianship.